Hello and welcome back to another Minecraft building video. Today I have something slightly different because as you can see from the background, I have been working on this for a year. This has been a huge project, by far the biggest one I've ever made, and I really hope you enjoy it. Like genuinely, this has taken so much time to complete, but yes, I hope you enjoy it and let's get straight into it. The first step, as you know, to any good Minecraft build is terraforming and making the world the way you need it to be to start building. It's kind of funny seeing this now, because this is about a year ago I was doing this, thinking the whole build was going to be this simple. Because yes, terraforming is very simple. It's really just texturing and figuring out what details are not overdoing it while making it look good. But once you have it all set up, you can start building, of course, and this is the best build I've ever made. Sadly, it kind of gets cut off here because I rendered it too short, but at the end, you will see this is quite impressive, and I'm pretty proud of it. The docks are very simple, but the detailing of the actual floor itself is what brings the whole thing together with all the different types of wood. The railing looks kind of weird, but the floor pulls the whole thing together. The first house, as you can see, is quite large, like compared to the scale of the docks and everything, but it required a lot of improvisation because this was going to define the rest of the build. So I kept just redoing things and trying to figure out what looked good from a distance. And I added another tower eventually because I realized it needed something on that side, and it looked really good at the end, in my opinion. The planning is really simple, but pretty essential. I am still not very good at it, it's very difficult, and I was pretty new to planning at the time. But basically you just get wool or whatever block you need, and you just plan out where you need everything to go. So I did struggle a fair bit because I had no experience doing this other than the Kingdom Outpost, and the planning of that was pretty horrendous, so I did my best to organize it with color and everything, and the boats made everything look more official, but yeah. I then moved on to the pathway, which is the first pathway of the Seaside Village as you enter it. And it was pretty simple to do, but it just kind of gave me a base for what the rest of the pathways would look like. The entrance towers was another defining thing for the style of the rest of the builds. It was pretty simple to do and didn't take very long, but I was very happy with it when I finished. The first house was pretty disappointing, really. I did change the roof color later in the building, but I was just experimenting, and the style then went on to be continued in other things, like how I am copying the style from the entrance towers here. I struggled a bit with the windows and experimented with it off camera later, so it does look better than this in the actual thing. But it looks decent, and here we can see I have tried to copy the same style again of mainly dark oak everywhere, and then the roof colors, again, I did change them. Orange doesn't look very good. But here is the second best house in the village, next to the one on the left, which is the main one. It ended up looking like a bit like a squid at the end, like the roof of the other one, but it ended up pretty good. The rest of the planning, I realized I needed to extend it out a fair bit more, because, yeah, but, like, what is that? I'm still very bad at planning at this point, and it does make it look more official, but I'll need to, I'll need to work on this skill for building in the future. The front tower, this was one that I knew was going to be viewed from the front, so it needed to look pretty presentable on most sides, but I kind of just copied the same style with a little bit more details and a lot more dark oak. The first buildings, I was very happy with this tower you can see on the left. But it was kind of sad because the way I'd planned it, I then had to build another building that blocked the view of the tower, which is why you plan ahead and you actually plan where you want everything to go. But again, it's not my best strength and I'll need to work on it a bit more. This house I was proud of because it's BB-8. It's not the best house, not the best roof, but it has BB-8, so I was proud of it. This house I managed to pull off quite a weird angled roof, and it was pretty decent, but I also knew that there were going to be buildings in front of it, so the details of the front weren't the most important thing. And I made sure to add another tower where I'd planned it to be. This area was pretty much just some normal houses again. Another tower, which I imagined would be a clock tower, but I couldn't quite bring that to life. But this building, I'm very proud of. The next buildings, I was struggling a bit because of the planning again, and planning buildings on a diagonals is not something that makes it easier for you in the future, just for future reference. The entrance towers, I struggled a bit because I was trying to make sure that the front one didn't overdo the one in the back. But then, again, I did also remember that there were going to be buildings blocking it from most sides, as in looking at it from a distance. This front building was pretty basic. I knew it had to be presentable because it would be one of the front ones, so I made sure the tower had some good detail, but pretty normal other than that. This one I experimented a fair bit. And honestly, that first building looks the best by itself, but then I had to add the side thing, because, again, the planning. The front towers also are just some normal towers with normal texture. This is the crazy house, which was also in Kingdom Outpost, but it's quite a distance away from everything else, so yeah, you know who lives there. We all have someone who lives there. The pathways are very satisfying to make because they pull the whole build together in a way that you can't really see until you've done them. So I am still learning different techniques for making pathways look good, and this is just normal texturing really, but it was nice to see the way that the village would look at the end from the main pathway. This is the first boat I made. I didn't get to record making it, but I was very proud of it. The rest of the boats, I sort of copied the same style as the first one I made. It was convenient having world edit because it meant I could use or build the boats out of the water and then put them in. But I am still learning about boats, and that was my first attempt at making them. The fields around the edge, I apologize about the chunks loading and unloading because I had to keep looking from a distance, but it turned out pretty good. And for the final pathways and trees, it was really just to make sure that the whole build was pulled together and had some nature throughout it. Now, after 1 year of building, a lot of tears, a lot of missed calls, and a lot of sweat, that sounds weird, I present to you the Seaside Village. So I really do hope you enjoyed. Unlike last time, I don't really have any notes to give about the building. Really, this has just been staying persistent over a year and just working on a little bit at a time. It has come together pretty well. As you can see, when a build comes together pretty well, you can normally tell by how good it looks from a distance. But really, I have learned so much in the process of building this that I really just wanted to get it over with so I could start working on other stuff, because there's so many things things that with my knowledge now I could do better. Like this front tower, the entrance gate, I learned so much from. But then I wasn't able to replicate that style for the majority of the following buildings. So it was kind of sad, but then I slowly learned how to replicate this style throughout it. So at the end, the result for me, like through my eyes, maybe not yours, is that this isn't the cleanest build. I do have a lot to learn before I can start building things that you look at and go, that is incredible. But yes, I have a lot of good people to learn from too online. There's a lot of free ways to learn this type of stuff. So I will be learning, and hopefully the next one will be much better than this. As you can see, I need to learn how to make atmosphere. This is kind of a blank area. But I will be putting the world download in my Patreon this time, because this has been too much work to just upload for free. So thank you for watching. Maybe check out the Patreon for the world download, but I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.